Green box is achieved. Let's see what that means. I should probably turn my ringer off. I'm so unprofessional after a 2-week hiatus.
Oh yeah, I gotta do that
Shame
too.
on you.
I know.
Well,
We live.
Sit down.
Oh, we are live. Yes, it is confirmed we are live. Welcome, everyone, to another edition of the 4GwQPodcast podcast. After a 2-week hiatus, I should say, since our last episode, we are back. Today is June 22nd, 2017, but whatever day you're listening or watching, thank you for checking out the show. Obviously, we're going to do a little bit of an E3 recap since we haven't been live since E3. I was at E3, so unfortunately we weren't able to do any podcasts, during it or very shortly afterwards since I got in early on Friday last week and I was dead for about 3 days. So we are back and we will talk about our E3 feelings. We'll go through, with a fine-tooth comb, if you will, but not too fine-tooth. It's not going to be a super long episode, but we also have to talk about, of course, Jim Ryan's silly comments about the value of indie games at this point in time. And we will also talk about the developers of Detroit talking some major shit about Xbox already. Seemingly about 2 years before the game comes out, we know almost nothing about the game really, and they're already talking the console war game and mentioning Xbox not only by name but tagging them into their tweet, which I found very, very petty. But we'll get into that in a little bit. So yeah, let me introduce the rest of the people. Obviously, I'm Inferno 217. We have making his 139th straight appearance on this program, ZBCI Assassin. What's going on?
Yo, what's up?
Wow, accentuating that P. You got that pop filter, so you're able to do that kind of stuff without it sounding, muffled or anything.
Nope.
We've got making, who knows, maybe like 100th appearance at this point. Zebra Fries.
No, it's only been a year.
Maybe like 80th.
No, not even that. A year is 52 weeks.
I don't know.
That's like
Definitely less than that.
All right, let's say 70th appearance, maybe.
No, it's like 40 something.
Okay, whatever. We've got Taylor.
I just told you the math.
What's going on, Taylor? How you been?
Hi.
And we've got, last but not least, Italian Clowns. What's going on, guy?
hey, what's going on, people?
Yeah, all right. I thought there was... The way he ended that, I thought there might have been a little bit more after that, so I
was going to say Rand calling you the Boston Hammer, so I just thought of a new nickname for him. Rand Al Never Been Tanner. It kind of rhymes with Boston Hammer. Hammer, Tanner,
Wow, yeah, it kind of does. I'll give you that. But yeah, before we get into this E3 stuff, I want to obviously shout out our affiliates like we do every single episode. Go down in the YouTube description. You will see some links for some of your favorite websites that you guys, I'm sure, shop on. Amazon, Best Buy. What do we got down there? Walmart. Oh, no, we don't have Walmart down there. GameStop, Microsoft Store. Your favorite places. Shop through those. Use those links. You don't pay any more money. Just do your regular shopping, and you will net us a nice little referral fee that we will use for giveaways. We're going to have an awesome giveaway coming up pretty soon. Speaking of giveaways, we did a giveaway that we just actually drew, very recently. We sent the codes away to the winners, and everybody has gotten a working code. So thank you for your patience on that. I know we had some region issues going on, but Black and White Bushido, we did an interview with them probably about a month ago at this point, and they provided some codes for us, 4 codes exactly. I know UK Dazarus, who's in the YouTube chat, he was one of the winners, and we had a few other winners for that. But yeah, go check out that interview, and we also thank the guys over at Good Catch Games for giving us those codes to give away and generate some hype. So thank you for that. Yeah, so other than that, I think we'll slide right into it. E3, it's now over. The fun is over, and the post party is kind of over too. You don't see a lot of people really talking too much about what happened to E3 anymore. We'll go ahead and keep talking about it because we haven't talked about it yet. But people have kind of gotten their opinions out there. People have seen the conferences. Some people did their videos, And, surprisingly, I think a lot of people are already over what was shown at E3. And I think a lot of that has to do with the quality of some of the conferences this year not being too great. So let's get right into it. Assassin, what company you want to start with first on this fine evening?
Let's start with the worst, Ubisoft.
Really? Okay.
No,
How
it's
dare?
actually Bethesda.
So which one, Ubisoft or Bethesda?
Bethesda is the worst.
All right. So Bethesda, they did their thing Sunday night. It was midnight on the East Coast, 9 p.m. Pacific. They had a conference that I believe clocked in at just north of 40 minutes. So not very long, just a little bit longer than Nintendo's Direct that they did. We'll get into that a little bit later. So yeah, Assassin, you wanted to start with Bethesda. Please tell us your thoughts on this. In any way, shape, or form. You want to give us a letter grade, you want to give us a number, you want to just say what your best and worst were, whatever you want to do. This is your time to do it, bud.
So, the conference is 40 minutes. The first 30 minutes was useless crap. Like, I understand you guys wanted to see your Dishonored 2 stuff, whatever. But, like, the VR stuff, the Morrowind trailers, stuff that we kind of already knew, we didn't need to see. And then when it reached Wolfenstein 2 and The Evil Within 2, I think that's when it hit its high, and then it was over. Just like that. 5 minutes later it was over. Or whatever, 5-10 minutes over.
Well, okay, you weren't excited. I mean, I know you don't have VR headset, but you don't think Fallout 4 being, a fully playable experience in VR, you don't think that's a big deal?
I mean, it's a big deal. But the thing is, I was hoping maybe they would have done something more new. Like, we kind of heard about it last year. Fallout 4 VR and Doom, and then we saw Doom being played or whatever, and it looked terrible, in my opinion. So, yeah.
All right, so if you were to perhaps assign it a letter grade, it sounds like you only liked a couple things out of the 40 minutes. If you were to assign it some sort of letter grade or a number, what would you give it?
I'd give it like a D-.
D-, wow. Tough start here. Talk us off the ledge, Taylor. What did you think about what Bethesda showed?
I mean, really the only thing I was super interested in was the Dishonored stuff. Everything else was just kind of a recap of what we already knew, or it didn't really say anything. Which I'm upset about. Bethesda.
Yeah, I mean... So people, I know people are excited. People, chalks up certain things to being quote unquote new. Like, they'll say the Skyrim stuff on Nintendo Switch, and I know Clown's going to talk about that, so I won't go into too much detail. But like, they'll say the Nintendo Switch stuff, that was new. Well, that wasn't really new. We kind of knew about that. So that wasn't too new. Like, that was already a known commodity. The Doom stuff, that wasn't very new. Yeah, it's in VR, great. But that wasn't very new. That wasn't surprising. The Wolfenstein stuff was probably the worst kept secret of E3, or one of them, at least in the top 3 worst kept secrets. Everyone knew it was coming. Everyone knew the title.
Yeah.
I think I'm with Taylor on this one. I think the Dishonored stuff was actually probably the biggest surprise. I think Evil Within. No, don't shake your head, because Dishonored stuff, that number one, looked and sounded good, and number two, I'm pretty sure that's standalone, isn't it? You don't even have to have Dishonored 2.
I think so. Not 100%.
I'm pretty sure that's standalone. Yeah, the Dishonored Death of the Outsider. I don't think that's DLC. I think that's standalone. Correct me if I'm wrong. Maybe it's just a standalone series. You have to have Dishonored 2, but I'm pretty sure you don't have to have Dishonored 2. But nonetheless, I think that was a big deal. Obviously, Assassin, I know you hate Dishonored, but and kind of like what Taylor said, and kind of like what you said, Assassin, a lot of it was just worthless. It's like, why even come out and show this stuff at this point? Like Quake Champions, we knew so much about that. What about Quake Champions that they talk about was new? Nothing. And even at the conference when I was there, I went over to Quake Champions to see, what was new, what was different from what I've already played in multiple betas on my PC, and nothing was new. They didn't announce any console, they didn't console exclusivity or console versions or anything like that. It essentially was all the same stuff. So I think that's a fair assessment, Taylor. I think not much was new, and I think that's what pissed people off. I think people are waiting for like another Elder Scrolls iteration. They even talked about Morrowind, which is out. Like why are you talking about stuff that's out? That it doesn't seem, unless it's like something new that you're adding. I mean, that wasn't new that you're adding. That's already out. So, all right. So Taylor, if you give it a letter grade, what do you give it?
D.
Wow, D- and a D. I know Clowns. I thought Taylor would talk us off the ledge. I know Clowns was, well, maybe I don't know, but I think Clowns is a little bit more impressed with the conference than those two. Am I right, Clowns?
No. Get ready to jump off the ledge.
Wow. Okay. Okay.
You know what though? I think Bethesda is putting too much weight in Dishonored when the series sucks. I mean, it's already gotten so many price drops. The trade-ins are worthless. The game is like trash. It's worse than toilet paper. And then you got the next Evil Within. The first one, it didn't even do that well. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it had a rapid price drop as well. Wolfenstein's okay. That might give it like a 0.0001 of a letter grade up. And the coolest thing was Skyrim VR.
That wasn't shown there.
Yeah, but I mean, just talked about it at E3, so that was good. And then you got the Fallout VR, which is cool. So my complete letter grade would be like an F+. I think the show kind of sucked. They relied too heavy on Dishonored crap. I mean, hey, check out our Stone DLC of this assassin. Oh, it looks so cool. No, it's the same shit over and over and over again in the same engine from 2012. You want to talk about lazy devs and 30 and 60 frames per second? Bethesda's the worst with the same damn engine.
Man, I thought the Dishonored stuff looked good. I can't listen. I can't
drugs.
I can't argue with the. Was I on drugs? I may have been a little drunk, if that counts. The Dishonored stuff, I can't argue with you guys over being the same engine, but like we've talked about on this show before, I think if it's not broke, don't fix it. I think I will get that expansion. I will enjoy it. I know Taylor will get it and enjoy it, but you're right. You guys are right. It's on the same engine. It doesn't perform remarkably better than its predecessor, which is not good. So who knows if Dishonored 3 comes out and it's on a new engine, and it comes out on Xbox One X or even the next generation of consoles, and it performs remarkably. I mean, and they change some of the mechanics. I mean, I think the lore is there to capture people. I don't think it inherently is terrible, like you guys say.
Well, I mean, look, dude, Xbox One X is going to come out, right? Dishonored 2 is going to be in the same engine from 2012. Maybe no HDR upgrades, no 4K, no texture upgrades, maybe even slower frames per second because the engine's so buggy. I mean, Elder Scrolls Online looks better than Dishonored 2.
Mm-hmm. I agree with you on that. I agree with you 100% on that.
Don't you think, though, for a big studio like Bethesda, they should at least go ahead and start upgrading the stuff? Because, I mean, to be honest, if I was a fan of Dishonored, right, and I bought the Xbox One X, and Bethesda's this huge, super huge company, I would expect, like, I'm not saying it has to impress me or be 4K, but come on, make it a little bit better.
Dude, and I think that's why Bethesda is essentially universally being seen as the worst showing at E3 this year. Because like Taylor kind of opened with and like you kind of alluded to and expanded on, not a lot has changed for them. Like they need stuff that is changing. They needed to come out with if they were going to announce something new, they need to announce something new that builds some new mechanic or some new graphical engine or something new. Like if they were to announce an Elder Scrolls thing and they announced like you can do this, this, and this because it's so new, and it's got new mechanics and all this and that. That's what they needed to make a splash. Like everyone's gotten slammed this E3 because they didn't do anything new. And Bethesda's not excluded because they have some good like lore in their games, like Elder Scrolls and Dishonored. Like they're not excluded from it. Like they needed to make more of a splash than they did, and I think I think you're right on that, Clowns, but I don't know. I don't think it. I think this Dishonored thing was planned before even Dishonored 2 release, so I knew it wasn't going to be totally different, you know. But there are people in the chat that are with you on this, Clowns.
I mean, don't worry. ZeniMax, and which is the parent company Bethesda, they're too busy being worried about suing Snapchat right now for this. They're after Snapchat now for the Snap Map.
Oh, okay.
They said they stole that, I think, from Elder Scrolls. They said.
Oh, okay. They've won their battle against Oculus, and they're starting up against Snapchat now. Nice. So yeah, Abstracticus is in the YouTube chat. He says this new Dishonored, it isn't DLC, it's a standalone. I'm with Clowns, same shit, nothing new. Oh man, you know, it's true, but if it isn't broke, I feel like don't fix it. I feel like the story here is going to be very, very good. I mean, Till, you're with me on this, aren't you?
Of course, I'm looking really forward to the new expansion for this.
Yeah, and like I just said, you know, you may think, okay, Inferno, you're a hypocrite because you just said that they needed to innovate in some way with like Elder Scrolls or whatever. But Elder Scrolls feels old. You know what I mean? I don't think Dishonored necessarily feels old. I just think Dishonored hasn't done anything to capture like a new audience, if that makes sense.
It's simple. Just cancel the game.
Yes. You know what? And offer refunds on it too. So everybody gets some, $60 back and $40 back that they paid. And also, I'm a little bit surprised Assassin is not a little bit excited about this game because the engine is so old that it could probably run on his PC.
It's definitely not. You guys are ridiculous.
I don't know. I can run Skyrim, so it's probably the same thing.
See, that's a problem. Like, they need to get with the times and stuff like that. Dishonored 2 PC requirements. I'm going to look this up right now.
Now, it might not be the highest quality, but
you could probably run it. You can probably run it on a mobile Celeron processor.
No, dude. It says minimum requirements is an i5 2400.
Yeah, right.
Minimum.
You could probably run that on an AMD from 10 years ago.
You guys are ridiculous. All right. Are we okay? So Bethesda, you gave it an F+. Honestly, I'm at a C- on Bethesda. I don't think it was very good, but I thought Wolfenstein showed extremely well. I thought The Evil Within actually showed decently well. I'm actually kind of interested in Evil Within 2 now, to be honest with you. And they did a little gameplay with I don't remember if it was GameSpot or somebody. If you're interested in it, look it up. They did some gameplay with one of the devs. It was like a 14 or 15-minute gameplay session. And it actually looks a lot different from Evil Within 1. So I'm kind of more interested now than I was before. Obviously, the Dishonored 2 stuff looked great. I just think Bethesda... or the standalone, I should say. I just think Bethesda kind of focuses too much on their after party, because their after party this year, I didn't go to it, but they had like Ferris wheels and amusement parks and all this, because it was Bethesda land.
And don't they have a strong open bar too at Bethesda's?
Yeah, I mean, they have drinks and stuff.
So I mean, it's probably because they just want to get all the journalists drunk so they can give them good ratings. Like, oh, you don't remember what you saw earlier? Just here, have this shot right here. This is good.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Xbot says, before we move up Bethesda, Xbot says, Bethesda tore the roof down last year. You think this year's great show may have... Oh, last year's great show. I was going to say this year's great show. Last year's great show might have shadowed this year's. I mean...
Yeah, I mean, it's possible, definitely. Yeah, definitely possible.
I mean, yeah, you look at it like... Okay, if you release something great or you do something great, and then later on, you try to follow it up. Just like sequels in movies, right? Everyone says, oh, sequels aren't necessarily as good because the first one was so great, you come in with a follow-up to such a great show last year, and obviously you were following a tough precursor. You had to do something incredible, but unfortunately 40 minutes... and at least half of it being nonsense was not good enough to do that. So
yeah.
Boogie says there were turkey legs at the Bethesda thing as well.
Why?
Yeah, to eat.
That's-
Dude, turkey legs? You never had like a turkey leg at a carnival or something?
Oh no, they probably overcooked it and bashed the journalist's head in if they didn't give Dishonored, standalone DLC a positive review.
12.
Ridiculous,
Time.
man.
Jeez.
Oh, man. All right. We're off Bethesda. We got a lot of stuff to get to. So next up, Ubisoft, which was Assassin's. He said that was the worst one. Is this your second worst one, Assassin?
Yeah.
Okay. So speak to us on Ubisoft. What were your thoughts on this? They had some new IPs. They had some sequels we weren't expecting. Beyond Good and Evil 2. They had the new Mario Raven Rabbids thing. So that stuff didn't excite you?
Okay, so starting out with the Mario and Rabbids thing, the beginning of that was so like a little weird. How the guy just brought up a gun, he was acting like he was a 2-year-old. Like I felt that was not needed. And then the game looks like crap. Then what was it? Assassin's Creed looked good. It's not a bird sim as Nancy over here, Clowns, calls it. And Skull and Bones, I think, has potential, but it could potentially kill Sea of Thieves if it launches within a small amount of time of each other. Because the combat, I think, looks better, and you don't need like a crew of people to play necessarily. And then
Wait,
Beyond Good and
hold on,
what?
before you go on to Beyond Good and Evil, because you just talked about Skull and Bones, which is a new IP that looks eerily similar to what Sea of Thieves is trying to do. Tell me, honestly, you think that Skull and Bones, if it comes out before Sea of Thieves, which is not going to, but if it were to, you think that Sea of Thieves would be dead on arrival after all this hype that Microsoft's had and all the playtests and everything?
I think the problem with Sea of Thieves, like, I don't know if it's breaking NDA, but it's more team-based or people-based. And, like, communicating with people is fine, but I'm not one of those people, just the way I am. Like, I don't want to go in game chat, be forced to, and I have to work with the team. Skull and Bones is more, like, kind of like Black Flag. You have your own boat. You can do things with it. And you don't have to worry about, like, Clowns not raising the anchor and we're stuck in one spot or something.
Whoa! What are you talking about?
Or someone not lowering the sails or telling you where you need to go. Like, it's all on you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so that's what in Abstracticus in the chat, who is a huge Sea of Thieves guy and was one of the people who played on stage last year, or not on stage, but in the video they showed off at the Microsoft stage last year at E3. He says that Sea of Thieves and Skull and Bones are completely different. See, you know that because you're a super fan, but on the surface, I guarantee you people are
No.
No. Yes, dude. Yes, people are saying that they're nearly the same, and I agree with what Assassin just said, that it's more like Black Flag, but people are seeing the pirates. They're seeing what they showed off at E3 that Ubisoft showed. People are making those comparisons, and I think it's valid.
No.
The art style is completely different.
No,
I mean,
of course.
It doesn't matter. Like, Call
lore.
of Duty and Titanfall are totally different, and Titanfall 2 got destroyed because of Call of Duty.
Titanfall 2 got destroyed too because of the backlash.
So?
Because
it launched between Battlefield 1 and Call of Duty.
Because of the disc conspiracy.
Yeah, well, that definitely had a part, but I think people are comparing Skull and Bones to Sea of Thieves, even though they're different games. I really do. The crews and Skull and Bones are a lot bigger, from what I've seen in the videos. They're not as cartoonish. They didn't show fire cannons going off. You can't shoot yourself out of a cannon. Mm-hmm. You didn't see people just dive overboard, drop anchor randomly. You didn't see sharks in the water. You didn't see storm clouds in the sky or shipwrecks underneath water. Okay, Clown. So you think Sea of Thieves is better then? Is what you're getting at?
I'm not saying better because I haven't played Skull and Bones. I can't say that. What I'm saying is I think there's a lot of big differences. And it's even been in magazines, journalists even picked up on that there's no confusion between the two for the mass audience.
Mm-hmm. Okay, fair enough.
But who is people going to go to? Something that's more adventure-based, we have to find treasure and whatnot, like we've seen in the trailers, or something that's more action-packed, explosions and, you know, 5v5, you know, multiplayer type things.
Well,
It
as
would keep
far
the
as
people more interested.
I think Skull and Bones is going to get the more mature audience, definitely.
Yeah, I think so too. I think people, like what Assassin said, I think people are in it for Skull and Bones. I think people will be in that a little bit more because, like you said, Assassin, they don't need a crew necessarily. It isn't significantly like with Sea and Thieves. It's significantly less fun from what I've heard if you don't go out with friends, if you don't get in with friends.
Yep.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but Skull and Bones, you have to have a crew, and it's random lobbies also.
No, I mean
That's
you have
not
to.
what they showed.
Huh?
That you have. It's not what they showed. Where you have a crew on your boat. You're taking control of the boat, just like Black Flag. Literally looks like Black Flag.
Right.
But I mean, like you can't just hop in there and if you like, gonna play solo.
It's supposed to have single
No, I
player,
think you
so
can.
I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Multiplayer game modes where it's 5v5, but you're not 5 people on one boat. It's 5 boats versus 5 boats.
Interesting. All right, Assassin. I feel like I cut you off here. Sorry. Go continue your Ubisoft thing. You were saying about Beyond Good and Evil.
Okay, so Beyond Good and Evil 2, that whole trailer was CGI, and to get excited for that game, I don't understand why. I doubt the game will look anything like that, especially probably some of the games we've seen, especially with the Ubisoft in the past years. I mean, look at the Division and some of their other games. They showed great, and then their quality of the graphics are significantly lower of what they showed, like Watch Dogs. So I don't think any of those games are gonna look right. And then I never played Beyond Good and Evil 2, or 1, I should say, and 2 just doesn't look interesting.
Well, if you talk to some people, Beyond Good and Evil 2 has little to nothing to do with the first game, and people are upset about that. So there's a lot of mixed opinions, very mixed opinions about Beyond Good and Evil. And I think you have a very valid concern about it. That what they showed was, obviously not in engine. And then they did a YouTube video that I think came out today. Correct me if I'm wrong, about the game in engine, and it just looks like what they're showing is not going to be what actually comes to the console, because it just looks like they're biting off way more than they can chew.
Yeah.
So we'll see how that game actually pans out. It's obviously, a little further from becoming a reality than we would think at this point. All right, Assassin. So if you give Ubisoft a grade, what do you give it?
Probably like a C-.
C-. Okay, we're in the C's for Assassin. All right.
At least they showed more new stuff we haven't seen before.
Right.
Right at Bethesda.
Middle-aged Gamer says Beyond Good and Evil 2 is also going to be on Switch. Yeah, good luck with that. If you haven't seen the demo that they put out, I think it was today, for the Beyond Good and Evil 2 being played in engine, you will, you'll know that it's not going to look like that. It's definitely not looking like that on Switch, and I'm sure it's not going to look anywhere close to like that or have anywhere close to the amount of scope that they're talking about in that video. But we'll see. We'll see. It's just like Ubisoft, right? To talk up a big game and then under-deliver, right?
Nope.
All right, Taylor, tell us about what you thought about Ubisoft. What stood out for you? What didn't?
Okay, so Skull and Bones, just because I absolutely love pirate games. I think they're so much fun. Black Flag was my favorite Assassin's Creed so far. And so it reminds me a lot of that, so I'm very excited for that game to come out. And also Ubisoft did confirm that it will have a single player narrative. So that's for you clowns.
Nice.
but what I'm saying is, though, once you're done the single player, it's done.
Well,
yeah, multiplayer.
What did you say, Assassin? The multiplayer?
Yeah, multiplayer, yeah.
Yeah, I feel like the multiplayer, from what they kind of at least showed a little bit of, I feel like the multiplayer is more single player or single person centric than Sea of Thieves. Like Sea of Thieves, if you went into Sea of Thieves and try to operate a ship by yourself, I don't think you'd be able to do it.
You can't.
No.
Right.
That'd be hard.
Right. But with this, I think you're able to at least do it. I think there's enjoyment to be had as a single person. Is it better with crews? Probably. It probably is way better with crews. But Sea of Thieves, it's almost reliant on having a crew. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Go ahead, Taylor. I'm sorry.
And then, obviously, Assassin's Creed Origins.
Oh, so good.
I'm so excited for this game. It looks so awesome. The one thing I am nervous about is that a lot of people who have played it say that a lot of the controls have completely changed.
Yes. And I will jump in there because I played it twice. I played the demo twice because I was in love with it the first time. Played it a second time just to see if, I was just loving it because it was right after the Xbox conference and I was on a high. But I played it a second time and I actually do like the changes a lot. Now, the controls change because there's not as much emphasis on countering. It's way more action-based now. Like, the countering, if you will, is now like dodging. And the like quick draw of your bow and stuff, and the little like slowdown it does, kind of like Max Payne. We have an opportunity to like really land that shot and stuff, and all the new animations. Yeah, you're right. The controls are way different. It's gonna play a lot different, but there is enough Assassin's Creed there to stay true to the roots, I think. Just my quick thing about it. But go ahead, Taylor. I'm sorry.
So, very, very excited for Origins. First off, ancient Egypt. I'm so happy that is a reality.
So good.
I love ancient Egypt so much.
You'll love
all
this
the lore,
then.
all the history about it.
Yeah.
It's amazing. The other game, I gotta look it up, but Transference.
Transference. Yep.
Yeah. That looks kind of creepy, and I really want to play it.
Yeah,
it's a VR game, but it looks very interesting.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on that. And you know what? This is where I got to give Ubisoft props, is that at least they came out and wanted to show off some new stuff and take some risks, That game is a huge risk. I think it was, like, the reception was mixed, but Transference, I'm into it. And yeah, like you said, it's VR, but, I think it's almost easier to get away with a game that's a little weird like that on VR because there aren't a lot of like worthwhile, great experiences, in-depth experiences on VR. So I think Transference has a chance to do well. I'm with you on that.
I really want to get a VR system just so I can play that, honestly.
Yeah.
It's like the only VR game that I've ever really wanted to play.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And contrary to what Clowns was saying, or was it Assassin? I don't know. But the Mario Rabbids game, it actually looks kind of fun. I think it was Assassin. Assassin's negative.
Game looks boring.
Well, I guess I should jump in because I played that as well. And even after playing it, because I feel like I played it and didn't get as much out of it as I feel like I should have, I actually stood by and watched for a good amount to see a couple other people play it. And I've got to say, a couple people have said this in the chat, that it looks good graphically. It looks good graphically. The style is excellent. Kudos to Nintendo for letting a company like Ubisoft do this with their, with their prized first-party IPs, with Mario and whatnot, melding it with the Rabbids. But I feel like the demo they showed did not show as well as it could have. It was very repetitive. It's got that XCOM turn style, move and attack, stealth-ish kind of gameplay. So it's very, very new to Mario. But at the end of the day, I think it showed very basic, and I know there's got to be way more because the mechanics are so, so...
Lame.
No, they're
complex.
Not lame. They're not lame, and they're not necessarily complex either. Because once you get it down, it's pretty simple. But the multiple different ways that you can do everything, like it's not very. Even though it's played very much on a lane, there's just so many ways to go about achieving the same goal, if that makes sense. So I think just having that like pseudo complexity to it would make it seem like there is going to be way more to this game than they showed at E3. Because I kind of left it and I was like, wait, was that it? Like, is that what they just showed me? Because that wasn't very complex. That wasn't very XCOM-ish to me. But yeah, I'm very optimistic about the game. It looks gorgeous. It plays great. I think the mechanics are excellent. Yeah, a lot of promise to it. All right, Taylor, you got anything else?
No, I think that's pretty much it. I just thought, the South Park trailer was just hysterical to me.
Oh my god, so funny. Now, Assassin hates South Park, and you got to admit, Assassin, that was funny.
I mean,
I'm
it's not
not
that I
a fan of
hate.
South Park either.
It's not that I hate South Park. It's just like there was a point in time where I used to like South Park, and now it's just it's South Park. It's like I'm not really interested, but I'm not hating on it. I have no interest in playing the game or even watching the show. So it's just there.
Yeah, it's funny. It's good. I think the game has a lot of like raunchy ass humor, obviously, as you saw in that trailer. And I think it's gonna be better than the first one. Actually, from what I saw, it's a lot more like a lot of the fighting mechanics and some of the sequences very much more complex than the first game. And Assassin, you played through the first game. You enjoyed it, didn't you?
I enjoyed it when you weren't doing the combat, because I absolutely hate turn-based
Wait, which?
stuff.
Oh, South Park.
Yeah,
Yeah.
South Park, yeah. So, all right, Taylor, your letter grade for Ubisoft then?
B+.
B+. Wow, very strong on Ubisoft. Very strong. All right,
Love Ubisoft.
Clowns, take us home, bud. What do you think about Ubisoft?
I think Ubisoft had one of the best shows. I'm gonna be honest with you. From what they showed at Far Cry 5, I really enjoyed it. I think the concept is kind of cool. I am worried it could get a little repetitive, but I think the story is going to make up for it. Assassin's Creed Origins, I wasn't really feeling it that much, and I'm a huge Assassin's Creed fan. I just think that this one in particular, they relied too much on an animal to scout. I mean, come on, you're an assassin. Who the hell needs an animal? This should be a skill you should have. I mean, come on, it's a flying bird simulator of 2018, 19? No. Get out of here with that.
It's not a flying bird simulator.
It feels like it to me.
They showed
It
the
is
bird
a
for like
tiny
2
part.
seconds. Of
No,
like
actually,
15 minutes.
You can use the bird to scout in more than just one area. So it's similar to the
Well,
drone.
Yeah, but you could just sit in the bird and call it a simulator. You could just get off the bird and whatever way or how he uses it and just
But it's
move.
going to ruin it for guys like you, Assassin, because you're going to sit back and be like, I want to be stealthy. I'm going to hide in a bush.
Yeah, I like being
Bring out the bird simulator.
Then,
I mean,
I'll
Far
not-
Cry Primal, we had too much of this crap already with the animals. Get off that train, Ubisoft. It's enough of that. Skull and Bones look good. I think, unlike Assassin, who thinks he can just solo it, the single player
They showed
maybe.
it.
Single player maybe, but once you go into the multiplayer, no, you can't do 1v5 at all. You're
Well,
going to
no
need it.
shit, but I mean, you can still do it solo. You don't need to go in a group of, I don't need to invite Taylor, Inferno, and you, and
I
some
guarantee
Joe Schmo from down the street.
you're going to need a crew because you can't shoot the cannons yourself or hoist the sails or
That's
drop
not
the
what they showed in the multiplayer. You didn't show multiple people raising sails and firing cannons. They showed you firing the cannons.
I'm telling you, it maybe even pre-recording. Somebody held a controller. I'm just giving you a heads up on that.
And if you're wrong,
If I'm wrong, then you can go ahead and buy the game anyway.
Nice.
Because I'm not buying that junk. It looks good, but I hated the boats in Assassin's Creed Black Flag. It's the worst part for me. Beyond Good and Evil, I think that's going to surprise everybody. I think it's going to be a sleeper hit. Because it's a lot of people say it's like an open world space RPG. I think that's going to be fun.
Nice.
It's going to be good.
at the other open world games, look at Wildlands, for instance. Repetitive, full of collectibles. Primal, repetitive, full of collectibles. Far Cry 4, repetitive, full of collectibles.
Yeah, but those built on
repetitive, full of collectibles.
those built on games that were kind of okay. The Crew, you get a point, but the other ones built on games that were like were already established, used mechanics and had visuals that were very much like other stuff. Beyond Good and Evil, at least, is very unique in its visuals and its in its setting and characters and all that kind of stuff. No.
No, I think so. Yeah,
I
I'm
think-
with you on
I
that,
think it is.
Inferno.
I
I think it's going to be unique. I think we're going to have to wait till we see more of it to make a full decision, but it's piqued my interest.
All right.
And Crew 2, I think actually looks really good. I wanted to see more in-game gameplay to make a judgment call. So that's a guarded decision, but I think it looks good and it has potential. And South Park, I mean, the first one was amazing. Yeah. So we know this one's going to be great because South Park in itself is fantastic. So yeah, I mean, the Ubisoft conference for me gets like a solid B+.
B+, nice, another high grade. I'm a little bit between Assassin and you guys on this one. I'm probably at like a B to closer to B-, just because I was expecting Splinter Cell, didn't get that. From what I played on the floor, you know, I won't go into depth into all the other stuff because we already talked about Skull and Bones and stuff like that. Stuff that was playable on the floor that I played, Assassin's Creed, I'm at a buy on that for day one. I know in the chat, Xbox said that the graphics look bad. I will tell you from my eyes experience at E3, they play that on an Xbox One X. At least that's what I was told at the booth. That could be wrong, but that game looked good. That game was graphically impressive. I was very impressed with that. It's definitely on the level, if not better, than Horizon Zero Dawn, the Pro. I already talked about
not a true 4K. How dare you? It's not gonna look as good because it's not true 4K, and it's only 30 FPS.
Oh man, damn it! It's only 30 FPS, so no one buy it.
Yeah, it's not worthy. Don't get on the Xbox One X. Just the One S and the original.
Oh man. Other games I played in the floor, or actually, I didn't play this one, but Far Cry 5, I thought showed way better at the conference than it did in the floor. On the floor, you can ask anyone who played it. It played like shit. That game was not on an Xbox One X. That game was on, I believe, a PlayStation 4 Pro, or it could have been on a PlayStation 4 Vanilla even by how poorly it performed. I'm not really sure, but it did not perform well. I remember talking to a couple Xbox guys that I saw on the floor, and they came up to me and they were like, did you see Far Cry? That game looks like it's running like trash. And I was like, yeah, no, I saw that. It looked like it was pretty frame stuttery. So it didn't play well, but then again, it's early. You know, I'm not gonna knock it for that. But it definitely did show well in the conference, and I'm very interested in it. The Crew 2, I'll end with this. The Crew 2, excellent. And that's coming from a guy who hated the Crew 1 and would shit talk at any point possible. I think the Crew 2 played extremely well. I think the transition between the cars to boats to planes. I remember talking in the pre-E3 show with on this podcast and saying what can the Crew do different for the Crew 2 to be worthwhile, and that was the way they could do it. They introduced boats, they'd introduce planes. I think they have buggies too, but that wasn't in the demo. So you got cars, right to boats, right to planes. It was a seamless transition in the demo. I can't say whether or not it's going to be seamless in the game, but in the demo, it felt really good. The graphics, I was impressed. The physics, the driving physics, much improved. Collision physics, not improved. So hopefully they tweak that a little bit because, yeah, it's not as glitchy as like you ending up on the top of a bridge, but it wasn't great. The collision was still a little off. But the driving actually felt like a driving game for once, so I was very impressed with that. And so I'm at like a B on it. Closer to a B though. Assassin, shut up, dude. Assassin.
I didn't say anything.
Oh, you know what? We forgot to talk about Mario Rabbids. That game looks fantastic. It looks epic.
We talked about it.
It sucked.
I didn't get to say anything about it.
Okay, go ahead.
Assassin just dumped on it. I think it looks great. In fact, it's a day one buy for me. I think Assassin should game share that and buy that for everybody.
Okay, buy me a Switch and I'll buy it.
Wow. I actually had a dream that I bought Assassin on a Switch, and I told him about this dream, and he was like, "Can we make that a reality?" He didn't say that, but he wanted to. Anyway, yeah. So I mean, that's a day one for me too. Even though it looked, very repetitive, it looked too basic to me. I know that it's got to be more complex than that. I just don't think it showed as well as it could have showed. And that's probably because you have you have a bunch of different people who've never played games like that. You can't have a super difficult level or anything like that on display. It was just too easy, too simple. When there's just so much, so many different scenarios you could play out in the level. It was just so easy to do the same one and win. I think it should have been a little more complex, but it wasn't. But I won't bemoan that point. I'll give it more time and see more stuff on it. But I think they have a winner. I think that was a good deal for Ubisoft to enter into that one. All right, so on to E3, EA, I should say. EA. So, Assassin, start us off again. EA, I know you were impressed with a couple games in particular, but tell us about the rest. Or tell us about everything, obviously.
All right. So EA, best fucking show in the universe, hands down, no questions asked.
Right.
The indie game that they're partnering with, I forget what it's called. I keep on forgetting the name of it.
Way Out?
Yeah, that looked fantastic.
Yeah.
Like, day one buy. Like, if I could pre-order it, I would fucking pre-order it right now. Like, that's how good it looked. What else? The sports stuff I'm not counting because we see it every year. It's lame. It's crap. We don't need it. Same every year. You know, at least COD puts more into every year than a Madden or an NHL game. People will disagree with me, but all they have to do is change some names on some uniforms and change some faces. Then when they showed Star Wars Battlefront 2, I needed like weeks to just take that all in. And
you needed weeks to take it in. You needed a moment to like catch your breath. I know you.
Yeah, like that game compared to the first, like if you put them side by side, you would think that they weren't made by the same people.
Oh, you're
within
absolutely right.
within 2 years, they did so much to make it look different and like play different and add just so much more content. They said, like, compared to the first one, there's over 400 star cards, which is, like, your loadout, for your grenades and stuff, which is very impressive. Graphically, it looks amazing. I'm a little upset that they didn't show more gameplay. It was all recorded, which I was a little upset about. They didn't do it live. Need for Speed Payback, I think it looked good. Just that guy who announced the developer could have not been in there. It was a little cringy.
God. The YouTuber that
yeah.
couldn't even speak?
Yeah, he could have not been in there. But I mean that game looked pretty good. And the last Need for Speed wasn't that great.
Right. So is that it from you from EA? Nothing about Anthem or?
Oh, well, that was shown more on Xbox. I was just going to save it for Xbox.
Okay, we'll save it for Xbox then. All right, so your letter grade for EA, which you already have told us is the best conference, so go ahead and give us your letter grade.
If we're going with some like Japanese games, it would be like an S or like an A plus Infinite.
Wow, you're at an S grade right now, huh? You're at an S.
Yeah.
Wow. All right.
Is that a real grade? S grade?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's some Japanese. Yeah, that is like S rank, if you will. All right. Well, thank you for your assessment, Taylor.
Oh wait.
Oh, good. Good.
Battlefield stuff. I know they didn't really show it, but they showed some like after, their conference, whatever. And the first map with the new DLC is coming out in August, and it surprised me how many maps they're adding and guns, and the map looked fantastic.
Yeah, that's a game they're continuing to support, and they rightfully should. I don't think Battlefield is. They're very clear on saying that Battlefield is not a yearly release title.
Nope.
Between Battlefield 4 and Battlefield 1, what was it like? Almost 3 years.
Nope.
So they're going to continue to support that, and hopefully that gets an Xbox One X patch. I know it has a Pro patch, but it's like more about stability and less about any graphical changes or anything like that. But I mean, there are a few, but it's less focused on that stuff and more about stability. But too bad we didn't have El Boogie right now on the podcast, because I know El Boogie in the YouTube chat, she actually went to EA Play and was able to play a decent amount of the Battlefield stuff, so she would have some good thoughts about this. But I heard her say that the spearing thing was pretty cool. The spearing melee that they've added was pretty cool. But unfortunately, my EA play was stopped short when I got there, and the line was like 5,000 people deep, for God's sakes, because they just let like random people in, and the people who registered well in advance got shafted. But whatever. I'm not salty at all, if you could tell. All right, Taylor, what did you think about EA? Any standouts?
For someone who does not like anything Star Wars, I thought the Battlefront stuff actually looked really cool.
Yes.
I love that they listened to their fans and actually added in the single-player campaign. They added in so much more stuff. Just whenever a developer does that, it impresses me so much, and I give so much support back to the game, even if I'm not really interested in playing it myself.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just like the developer cares enough to listen to what their fans want.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That is such a big thing for me. And so Battlefront stuff I thought was pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to talk about the pacing of the show, how they kept going back and forth between like a sports game and then something else.
Mm-hmm.
So it kind of like, because they kind of know people don't care about the sports that much.
Yeah.
There are some like diehard fans, but it kind of gives people a minute to digest the bigger games that are coming out.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And it gives people like a quick minute break to go do whatever they needed. So I liked the pacing of the show a lot.
Very good. Yeah. Very
It made
good.
so much more sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the pacing was so much better than past years where, I mean, they've done that kind of thing kind of in past years a bit, but they've had like a sports game where they took way too long on it. Like when they had FIFA, one year they had Madden, and it was like 20 minutes, and you're just like, oh my goodness. You're bringing out like these old football players, Pele, talking with that guy on stage, interviewing him. Like, what is the point of that? But this year, I agree with you. Obviously, I didn't watch it live, but I did watch it after the fact, and I think the pacing was very good. I thought probably one of the best conferences in terms of pacing of the week. So, agree with you on that. Taylor, you got any more thoughts?
A Way Out looks freaking awesome.
Oh yeah, that's gonna be
Yeah.
really
I'm
well.
so excited for that game.
Mm-hmm.
It looks so freaking cool.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually really love the fact that particular game, you have to have two people to play.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
There's no way to do single player. That makes it so much more interesting.
And the two-player aspect of that game, that's really cool, is the fact that one person can be in a cutscene while the other person is doing stuff. So it's like it really is separating the two people. They really are like working independently but together at the same time kind of deal. Because like in past games where you co-op, yeah, you're like in the same room usually, doing the same thing. You're just doing it together. Where in this one, like, you're living both of those stories at the same time, different viewpoints, doing different things. I think it's brilliant, absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
Taylor, anything else?
And the Battlefield 1 DLC looks awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I want the game now.
Good, get it. Play with us.
Yeah.
I will. I'm
Always
just
looking
terrible
for
at
people to
FPS.
play. Clowns over here, Nancy, I should say, is Battlefield 1's dead. It sucks.
Oh, Jesus.
They just put out, like, the
He's
best-
making up lies.
Oh, bullshit. The new map that
Alright.
just dropped 2 days ago is like the best map in Battlefield 1
I still have to
history.
play that. Maybe I'll get on
It
that
is
after the podcast.
so good. It's like the stereotypical, World War One, where you got the German trenches, you got the French trenches, and you just have no man's land, which is just totally just crap all over the place. It's so good, and it's night out, so it's even better.
There you go. All right, Taylor. So if you were to give EA a letter grade, what would it be?
I'm gonna go another B+.
B plus. All right, B plus. Assassin's at an S. Taylor, B plus. Clowns, your thoughts on EA?
Okay, so I liked the Star Wars stuff. I thought, like, when they showed the room, I don't know what map it was, but like all the columns in that room and the detail, I thought that was fantastic for a background. But as far as the characters themselves, I think it looks like a rehash of the first one.
Well,
so I'm not.
It is Battlefront. There's clones.
No
and
kidding.
stormtroopers,
But I'm just
so they're going to
saying-
be the same.
I'm just saying it was the characters that they showed off were not impressive to me. It's the same old. But the details in the background was fantastic. I thought that was a step up for them. I hope they bring back homing rockets so I can kill Assassin multiple times. That's the only reason why I want to play it. A Way Out looks okay. I don't think.
Were you seeing the same conference here?
Let him speak. Let the man speak.
Okay, go ahead.
You can buy that shit because I'm not buying it. So it looks okay. I'm definitely not buying that. And yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. Like the football stuff, I'm all footballed out. It's Madden every year. I know, Europeans and people love FIFA, so I could see that being in there. But to me, I'm not good at it. I try to play FIFA and I'm just terrible. So I would say, like, overall, I think EA had a decent presentation, but there's a lot of stuff I'm just not interested in.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, I think A Way Out is probably going to do better than you may think it will, Clowns, and I think
it's going to do good. I think, no doubt it's going to do well. It's going to do fantastic.
Yeah.
But it's not for me, and I'm not going to buy that crap. And if I had to rate the show, I would probably give it like a strong B.
B, okay. All right, that's fair for, not liking The Way Out or anything. And Madden, I mean, you're essentially right. For games I played or saw, like, with my own two eyes, I want to comment on. I'm not going to... A Way Out, obviously, we've already talked about, so I'm not going to really comment on that, or any more on that, I should say. But Madden, you're essentially right. It is the same thing. I played that. The graphics on the 1X are incredible. Very, very good. Obviously, the best-looking game, but that's essentially all that I've seen to have improved. I think you can play in college in this one, which is cool if you're into that, but if you're not... it's essentially the same thing. Battlefront 2, watched about an hour and 30 minutes of Battlefront 2. Unfortunately, was not able to play it because Sony's reservations of appointments was ridiculous. But, I was on there right at 1 o'clock or right at 9:30 and trying to reserve, and they were all filled up instantly. The demos were like 40 minutes long, so they were really long demos. But game looks amazing. Game looks flat on amazing, and we've beaten this kind of to death, so I won't go into detail, but they've just added so much, and it just feels like a totally different game. So I can say that from experience and from, from seeing it, that it just looks so different and so improved. I'm really impressed. FIFA looks good. I saw the Switch version on the floor. That even looks good. Impressed that it wasn't like a dumbed down version of FIFA. It is the full FIFA. What else? Anthem, we'll get to it at Xbox. The Battlefield 1 stuff I heard, like I said, was very, very good. Like Taylor said, the pacing of the show was excellent. I thought they came out gunning. I thought they really made a mistake bringing YouTubers in to do announcements and stuff like that. Huge mistake. They'll never do that again. I can almost guarantee it. It almost is like they didn't even have like a rehearsal. You know what I mean? Like, how could you screw up that bad? Maybe you had like some sort of stage fright. I don't know, but that was really just a shit show. Really a real mockery, honestly. But yeah, we've kind of talked about everything EA. I would give it, a solid B as well. I think they did fairly well. I think they did what they need to do. They had A Way Out. They had Anthem as new IPs, and I think those games both impressed. And I think with their old established IPs, they impressed. So I would give it a B. I was hoping to see more Plants vs Zombies Garden Warfare. I was hoping to see more about like Fee. I know. They talked about their their EA Originals program, but Fee was nowhere to be found. So I was hoping to see more of that original stuff, but we didn't really get more like they kind of said they may give us. So yeah, I'm gonna B on EA. All right, moving on. Let's do Sony first. I don't want to do Xbox first. Let's do Sony first. Out of the big three. Just because I think we'll probably have, maybe not the least to say about this, but Assassin, thoughts on Sony?
I think Sony could have crushed Xbox this year, and instead they decided to remaster last year's E3. Days Gone, whatever, I think showed a lot worse than last year.
Awful.
Um,
Showed awful on the floor too. The cinematic experience that you had to register for, where they put you in a booth with or a room with 50 people, and they played it for you. You didn't actually get to play. Looked awful. I thought the graphics were terrible. I thought it showed like it was very, very early in development. I do not plan on that game coming out before October of next year at the earliest, because that game needs a lot of progress. But continue.
Gears of War 4, whatever it's called. I'm looking forward to that, but again, I think
God of War 4, you mean? Gears of War 4?
Yeah.
Okay.
God, Gears. It's like all the same
Okay.
words. It all scrambles up. Anyways, it looks good. I graphically, I think it was a step down from last year, but it could have been more CGI last year.
Yeah, it was.
Than gameplay. So I was a little disappointed on that. But I mean, I kind of need to see more. I heard it was open world, and if it is, I'm not too happy about that.
Mm-hmm.
Because I prefer, I've only played the third one, and it was more linear, and I prefer that, with puzzles and stuff. The VR section, Skyrim was the only thing that looked good, but everything else still looked like it could have came off the PS2 era.
Super hot VR. That's good.
Super Hot was shown before, though.
Oh, okay. I see what you mean.
Super Hot, I've seen a bunch of people because it's on the PC or whatever VR, and that is amazing. Just how it it looks and plays is just amazing. I would just buy a VR for that.
Mm-hmm.
Spider-Man, most of it looks CGI and quick time events, which I mean, it is a Spider-Man game. They kind of have to make it kind of interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Compared to some of the older ones that I played weren't that great. They could have shown more third party. I'm surprised they didn't show more third and new stuff. I was surprised that they didn't do that. And then no indies.
No
whatsoever.
indies.
For the second time in the row, no indies. And then they didn't. They showed an Act 2 and what was it? They're driving. Was it? What's their Forza game? I keep on forgetting the name of that.
Gran Turismo Sport.
Yeah. They didn't even show those two games, and those kind of games are coming out this year.
Listen, they didn't show Gran Turismo Sport because it's an embarrassment next to Forza 7. I'm sorry, I'm not being biased.
It's definitely an embarrassment, but they gotta show it. It's coming out this year. They can't do what Microsoft did to Recore, just show it once and then boom, game's out.
Yeah.
Well, that's because Recore was an embarrassment.
Recore is terrible. I mean, Gran Turismo is probably going to end up being okay, but probably terrible compared to Forza. Yeah, I mean, the amount of cars is doubled compared to Gran Turismo.
Right.
So, I mean, they have to show something.
Right. And you know what? Knack 2, I played that on the floor. Thought it was great. I'm in on Knack 2 day one. Honestly, I think it's way better than Knack 1. I think Knack 2 is very good. And they didn't show that during the conference. They didn't show that during the conference because they don't want to be embarrassed by it. They want to have it in their catalog. They put money into developing it and into supporting it. But they don't want to. They knew that wasn't a hitter. That wasn't a big hitter, so they didn't want to have that in their conference. They're almost pseudo. They're Knack 2 is almost like the girlfriend that you have that you love, but you don't want to see in public with her. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? I hate to say that, Taylor. I'm sorry, no offense, but that's what it is. It's that's exactly what it is. But I think it was good. I think it was very good. All right, so your grade on PlayStation then?
I think it's C.
C. Okay. C. I think that's fair. Taylor, thoughts on what you saw at Sony?
Honestly, I don't remember a whole lot of Sony's. Nothing really stood out to me, which it could partially be because I don't play PlayStation all that much, but it's just nothing grabbed my attention. I didn't really see anything that I was like, oh, I really want to play this.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Nope.
Yeah.
It was just kind of eh.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it was just very safe. Other than Spider-Man, I think it was extremely, extremely safe. Like, too safe. And I think that's why, I mean, you go on YouTube, you see even PlayStation people are upset at their own conference. Like, they're upset that their company did such a safe no-show of new stuff. Like, they know they did well last year, and instead of like kind of what we were talking about Bethesda when Xbox said, did last year's outshine this year's, instead of like trying to take a risk, they just went with the same exact thing almost, which is sad. That's sad. So, all right, Taylor. So you don't have a grade because nothing's memorable.
Pretty much, yeah.
That's fair. I mean, I'd rather you not have a grade than, like, I'd rather somebody
Give it
be
an
like,
F.
yeah, exactly. Like, just be like, oh, I don't remember anything, so F, But, yeah, all right, fair enough. Clowns, your Sony impressions?
I thought it was okay. I mean, it wasn't mind blowing. I mean, we knew Spider-Man, right? We all expected Spider-Man, and Spider-Man's going to be like that hit for them. It's going to be huge. The game looks fantastic, but again, like Assassin said, a lot of it is CGI and QuickTime so far that we've seen. We haven't really seen what all the gameplay is going to be like, so that's up in the air. I'm still going to buy it. I think it's going to be good because I love Spider-Man. The Last of Us, I thought that was okay.
Show that.
Well, they talked about it.
No, they didn't.
I must be getting confused then. What did we watch in the beginning? I must have fell asleep with Taylor on that one.
There was Days Gone, God of War, the Uncharted DLC standalone.
That's what I meant, the Uncharted. Yep. I got my words confused. That's what I meant. So, yeah, the Uncharted stuff looked good. But everything else is not memorable for me in that conference. So I went to Assassin. I got to give it a C. I think it was okay. It was fair. It wasn't the worst thing I've seen, but it was. I think it was a little bit better than last year's.
Okay, all right, fair enough. I mean, granted, last year's everything was like really far out. Now this year, it's essentially a replay. Stuff is a little less far out, because it's essentially a replay and it's a year later, and a lot of this stuff is coming in 2018, so it's not quite so out of reach. So I think that's fair to say it's a little bit better actually, even though it was essentially the same thing. All right. As for me, really quick before we move on the floor, I was able to see a lot of this stuff. I actually, to be completely honest with you, I think. Just because of the way that Sony did their appointments and stuff, I think Sony's booth on the floor was actually maybe a little bit better than Microsoft's. I think Microsoft's was incredible. I just think Sony's had it managed so well, and the space was distributed so well that it was a very pleasurable experience being in that booth. Microsoft, it was so crowded. It was so crowded. Even though they had a lot of good stuff to show, they had a lot of games, they had a lot of booths for people to play at will. Whereas, Sony had a lot of things to play. You needed to have an appointment, so it wasn't as crowded with people trying to get in. And so it was a little more pleasurable. But I saw Days Gone, like I said. That game does not look good. That game is now off my radar. I think that is a poor man's excuse for like Red Dead Redemption meets like Horizon Zero Dawn in mechanics. I think it's nice that it's open world. It's nice that it has dynamic roadblocks and vigilantes and stuff like that. But I think that game is a long way away. Did not show well. The gunplay, bad, like straight up bad. If you were in that room, you would agree with me that at any point if you were there and you were in that room, you would agree that the gunplay is just bad. Days Gone does not look good. So that they need to improve on that big time. Spider-Man, on the other hand, I understand why that one game of the show. It looked incredible. And somebody was playing it on I think it was PlayStation 4 Pro in that room. And it looked great. Yeah, there's a lot of QuickTime events. Yeah, there's a lot of CGI. but the transition between them and the actual game is just so smooth that it just makes such a nice cinematic experience. I really enjoyed watching it, and I'm definitely buying that day one. I'll probably pre-order that, to be honest. What else? Knack 2 I already said. Good. I think if you're even moderately interested, you should give Knack 2 a try. It's only going to be $40. It's completely co-op. You can switch to little Knack and big Knack on the fly, so it totally changes the way you play. There's like a little bit of a trading element, so you can play online with a friend and trade like parts to make your Knack better. So I thought that was kind of cool. If you find something that your friend doesn't have, you know, because there is a little bit of RNG in it for stuff that you find in the levels. So, what else? GT Sport, like I said, compared to Forza 7, looks awful. Like way fewer cars, way less detail. I think that'll do well in the PlayStation contingency, but it's not gonna, you know, turn people over to Sony by any means. Detroit, which we'll talk about in a little bit, looked pretty good. That was playable on the floor. I thought that looked pretty good. I think it's showing a little worse than it could have because people don't really know what it is. It's such a new, like, drastically different IP that I think a lot of people don't know what they're going to expect from that game. It's kind of like what Quantum Break was, if that makes sense. Like, people just don't know what to expect, so they're kind of, like, hesitant on it. So we'll see. We'll see on that. Battlefront we already talked about. Call of Duty World War II was on the PlayStation floor. That
I forgot about that.
That looked really good. I'm not going to lie. That looked really good. Yes, it's the same old Call of Duty. It's not going to be different. There's no, like, rocket jumping and super sliding or any crazy shit like that, but it's down and dirty Call of Duty, and the graphics are actually very good. I was impressed. Destiny 2, on the other hand, not impressed with the graphics. I thought it looked very similar to the first game. Too similar, to be honest. But, I mean, it's kind of like Dishonored 2. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. They fixed a lot of the mechanics. They fixed the storytelling, so Destiny 2 is probably going to be a hit. I did see it on PC on a 1080 Ti. And it was at 4K 60, and yeah, that's the version I want to play. The 4K stuff was just amazing, absolutely amazing. And yeah, other than that, for Sony, I think that's pretty much it. I thought Super Hot VR looked incredible. I'll probably be getting that because me and my brother game share. So, but yeah, other than that, I think it was probably like a C. I'll give it a C with you guys. I agree on that. All right, moving on because we're running out of time here already. So Xbox, guys, Xbox, very controversial on how people perceive this Xbox conference. I think somebody said, and I agree. I don't know who said this, but I definitely agree. I think it was the Iron Lords podcast guys saying that initially it was. And I think also some of the guys from Tick that were there said the same thing, that initially it was viewed poorly, but then, after people digested it and saw kind of what the other people offered, they were like, oh, actually, this is a good conference. But Assassin, you were anticipating this one big time, of course. So what are your thoughts on this?
So I want to take a second about the Xbox One X. I think it is a step down how it looks, like just the box compared to the Xbox One S. I think it looks a lot worse than it could be. That said, Forza 7, I literally thought that they were just playing a video that they took out at the desert, and it happened to be in game. I was just blown away on how everything looked on that game. It was like a day one Xbox One X buy. I was surprised to see. Well, not really surprised. I guess we were kind of expecting it. PUBG or whatever. PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds. I'm excited to play that, even if it's 30 FPS, 4K on the Xbox One S.
It's still gonna be great. It's still gonna be great.
Yep. Still, it's gonna look great. It's gonna play great, and get to kill some people. I mean, it's a good time. Anthem was blown away by that. I wasn't expecting, to see BioWare project coming out so soon. From the guys who actually made the older Mass Effects, and this looks amazing. Some people I heard gave it hate because there was exosuits. I'm like, come on, this isn't Call of Duty. You're not gonna, jump around and drop shot and 360 no scopes. Like, there's a reason why they're in there. Well, that Metro game that they showed, I keep on forgetting the rest of it, looked pretty good. I wasn't a huge fan of the other ones, but I might give it a try sometime in the future after it comes out. Crackdown 3, I think, could have had potential to show better, especially since they're going all about this cloud-based destruction and stuff, and they didn't show any of that.
Well, they already, I mean, they said that from the get-go, so I understand people are kind of pissed off about that, but yeah, that was kind of I don't want to say a well-known thing, because that wasn't, like, extremely public, but they said that they were going to show multiplayer at Gamescom, single-player at E3. I mean, that was the plan from the get-go. It wasn't like they were fooling people. Well, I don't want to make excuses. I think you're right. I don't think it showed very well. I'll give you that. I don't think it showed very well at the conference. At E3, I think it showed way better. But at the actual show, it showed terribly. I agree with you on that. So I'm not going to excuse make. Go ahead.
It's nice to see Cuphead has an actual release date.
Word.
That's one game I'm definitely looking forward to. Some of the indies didn't look that great. But, I mean, there's a lot of bad indies out there, and there's a lot of good ones, so we'll see when they come out. The OG Xbox backwards compatibility, I feel like I should be more excited. I feel like everyone wanted it, and people were like hinting at it, and then they're like, oh yeah, it's coming out. It's like, oh yay, but I wasn't like out of my seat when they did the 360 backwards compatibility.
Right.
That said, they better bring Battlefront 2 and some of the Battlefront 1 and 2 and some of the other Star Wars games to backwards compatible.
I think they will.
Or someone's going to be punched.
Threats! I hear it.
Yep, threats. Because I mean, I own 3 copies of the game, so another fourth copy. It's fine. What else? I think that's mostly it. I feel like I'm forgetting something.
I mean, there were other things, but if they didn't stand out to you, I don't want you to just like make up shit on the fly. So
yeah.
if that's what took you, if that's what took you away from the Microsoft conference, and you that made no sense. If that's what you took away from the Microsoft conference, then that's what I want you to talk about. So yeah. All right. So your grade then?
I don't know, like a B minus, somewhere in the middle.
Okay. Yeah, that's fair. That's probably where I'm at too. All right, Taylor, your impressions of how Microsoft did.
First off, I just want to say I'm so happy they didn't spend so much freaking time on the Xbox One X just trying to show stuff off on it. Instead, they went into the games, talked about the system for a little bit, and then it was just games. I'm so happy that they did that.
Yeah. I mean, at first when they went on stage and started talking about all the specs and stuff, and I was like, oh my god, here we go. You know what I mean? He talks about all the teraflops and all the the memory bandwidth and all this stuff, and he went into that, and I'm like, oh, here we go. And then it was done within a minute, and I was like, holy shit, they're actually done talking about this. And they went and then they explicitly said they had 42 games, 22 exclusives, and I'm just like, wow, okay, all right, never mind.
I know.
Good point, Taylor. Good point.
And then State of Decay 2. I'm so freaking... A lot of people are like mixed feelings on this. I've seen a lot of negative things about it, but I'm really excited for this game.
I thought it looked good.
I've seen people say how like the trailer didn't mean anything and all this, and it's like it still looks pretty good. Even if it's not actual gameplay yet. It still looks pretty good.
Oh, I think
I'm excited for it.
I think it looks great. I think a little of the mechanics were a little clunky, but you know what? It's not coming out, anytime soon, really. I mean, it's delayed to 2018 as it probably should have, and when that day comes, I think it's gonna come out and do very well. I think it showed well. I'm with you on that, Taylor.
Was the Anthem?
Yep.
Anthem looks really good. I've seen some people, who I also kind of agree with, have said they're scared it might turn into a Division sort of thing, where
Yeah.
the game starts out really strong and then they tweak it a little bit and it ends up like The Division, which I'm hoping doesn't happen.
Yeah, but at
Because-
least it's not made by Ubisoft. So BioWare, I think this team BioWare make some good games. So hopefully that's not the case.
Right.
I really hope not, because this game looks awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And oh my lord, the amount of indie games they showed.
Good thing, right?
It is a good thing.
Amazing.
It was, but geez, it was so freaking many. I can't even remember like half of them.
Yeah, I mean, see, that's the problem too. Like, you have a lot of indie games, and you put a lot of effort into showing them, and then some of them are so forgettable. Like, what was that one where it kind of looked like Minecraft a little bit, where they were like hacking away at, like ice blocks and stuff? I can't even remember the name of that. Like, I
Yeah.
don't remember that at all. Like, I just
I
remember.
don't even remember that one.
Yeah, what was that one? Oh man, I'd have to look at a list. I'll pull up the list as we talk. Or like, there were, like Code Vein. You guys remember that?
No.
Nope.
Exactly.
Yep. I remember it.
Oh, okay. So Clowns remembers. So there's 1 out of 3. But then they showed stuff like The Last Night, that one that was kind of like grungy appearance, but had like 8-bit characters. That I thought that one looked good. They had Ashen, that looks like Dark Souls, very much like Dark
yeah.
Souls kind of game, but it has the clay kind of characters, faceless characters. I thought that was very interesting. So yeah, a lot of indies and a lot of forgettable indies for sure. Okay, continue, Taylor. Sorry.
And then there was one other game. 1 second. I got caught up trying to think of the indies.
Nice. Just a reference.
What was the other
reference that
freaking game
list.
that they showed?
Hmm.
I'm drawing a blank.
Crackdown? No.
No, definitely not Crackdown.
Nice. Clown's like, yes, trash
I
it.
don't care about that game.
Amen. Speak the truth. No justice, no peace.
Yeah, no, I kind of tuned out when they showed Crackdown.
Yeah.
Did not really care.
Yeah.
The only thing I remember about it was Terry Crews,
Yes. Yes.
which that piqued my interest a little bit because I love Terry Crews. He's hysterical.
Deep.
Player Unknown.
Oh, PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds. Yep.
Duh. Like, game is a ton of fun on the PC, but I'm terrible at PC controls.
So there you go.
So
Yep.
I'm very excited for this to come to Xbox.
They had setups there of PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, and I was like, oh my god, this is running on Xbox One X. I need to see how good this looks. And they were running on PC, and I'm like, no. But they did have controller input, so that was kind of interesting to check out. I'm so used to the PC controls in that game now. Like, I went to the controller and I tried it out, and I'm just like, wow, I'm awful. But yeah, it's cool that it's coming to Xbox, console launch exclusive, and it looks like it's gonna look really, really good. What was the game? Okay, so the game I was talking about was Deep Rock Galactic. Assassin, no? Ring a bell?
No. No, it does not.
Oh my god, there's so many indies that like I'm looking now and I'm like, holy shit, they showed this? Like
There was a little Fox game, and I
Super-
want it, even though it's a little kid game.
Super Lucky's Tale. I'm getting that.
Yes,
That's a day one for me.
I want it.
Played that. Excellent. It's hard. It's actually really hard. It's not as easy as you think it would be. Like, the first time I did the demo, I lost all my lives before completing the demo. And it gave me a game over screen.
geez.
And I had to, like, pass on the controller. I was like, what the fuck? Like, I literally was playing for, like, 6 minutes or so. And the demo was for, like, 15 minutes. And it was, like, game over. I'm like, are you serious? Game over? Come on. All right, Taylor, any more thoughts or agreed on how you think Xbox did?
I'm gonna go with the B on Xbox.
A B, okay. That's a good guess.
I don't think anyone got an A this year.
No. Yeah, I don't think so either. I think Assassin's assessment of EA is just ludicrous.
I could be a little biased because I absolutely love Star Wars.
Just a little biased.
Oh, God. All right, clowns. Xbox, what'd you think, bud?
I thought it was great that they showed a diversity of indie games for a lot of people. I think that was good for the masses of the people. It wasn't exciting for me. To be honest with you, there was not a whole lot at the Xbox conference that excited me. Anthem, of course, excited me, but I consider that a multi-plat. I don't really consider that an Xbox exclusive. Very disappointed that Xbox didn't lock down any exclusives at all, except for launch exclusives, which nobody knows for how long those will be.
Yes, yeah, good point.
Big disappointment. The price of the Xbox One X is very realistic, although I think it's a bad move for them. I think it's going to sell less than 200,000 in the Americas, Canada, and North and South America combined. And I think in Europe, it's not even going to take off. Nobody wants it. And same in Asia. Code Vein did look good. It piqued my interest.
Mm-hmm.
So that stuck out to me.
Okay.
Super's Lucky's Tale looked good. That stuck out to me.
Yep.
We knew Forza 7 is going to be epic.
Oh.
But you know what though? Like, I mean, they really pushed that 4K boundary with Forza 7 and the 60 frames per second, and I think they marketed that way too much. I think they need to stop marketing the 4K as a buzz term that they're doing. I think they're overusing it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so from the Xbox conference, I took away Code Vein, I took away Anthem, I took away Cuphead. Finally has a release date, which I'm excited about. And there's a lot of stuff that I'm not excited about. Like, I'm not excited for Ashen. I know a lot of people are, not me. I'm not a big fan of Dark Souls 3, so Ashen, not excited for.
Okay.
Forza 7, besides the 4K and the 60 frames per second, I think it's like any other Forza Motorsport. It's still the best one out there, but I think it needs to change up a little bit. And this whole Porsche thing is overdone. I'm sorry, but I'm tired of seeing Porsche. Let's get some type of marketing rights with another company. Let's besides Porsche, it's overdone. Man, what else did they show?
I forgot to say it, but Minecraft cosplay. That was pretty huge.
Yeah.
That was a very positive thing.
Minecraft cosplay and that 4K texture pack, and I know you just said 4K buzzword, but nonetheless, I mean, even if you disregard the 4K, like all the lighting and the water and how it's changed the graphics completely on Minecraft, I thought that was a big deal.
Yeah, I think they're trying to do something different with Minecraft, and I got to give them props because they're not trying to stick to the same old textures. So I do think it's very positive. They're trying to make Minecraft grow up a little bit and trying to see how they can experiment with it. So that's good on Mojang's part.
Mm-hmm.
Man, I know there was so much other stuff in there that I thought of at the time, and I just can't think of it now.
It's all right. Well, that makes sense though. Like, if it's not memorable, it didn't stick with you, you know?
I mean, we all know about Sea of Thieves, and that, I mean, I have fun playing with it with friends, but other than that, it gets repetitive after a while.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Man, there's other stuff I want to comment on. I just can't think.
They had Metro, State of Decay.
State of Decay.
Dragon Ball Fighter Z. Now, I played that. That game was awesome.
I like Dragon Ball Fighter Z. I like the fact that it looks like the cartoon. From when they showed it, it looks like the cartoon, and it was very fluid. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to buy it, but I think that's very cool for a lot of people out there that like that style of game.
Absolutely.
So that's a positive for Xbox. State of Decay 2, I'm a little disappointed in because it looks a lot like the first one.
Mm-hmm.
Even the bases that they showed, I thought that was very disappointing.
Yeah, they worked too.
They have a lot of work to do. Like, they should just scrap the whole thing and redo it. Redo all the textures, the models, make new bases, get rid of the same fences that you crash into. All needs to be redone. That was going to be a must-buy game for me, but now it's on the definite do-not-buy list. Crackdown 3, terrible. It looks worse. It looks like a bad version of Saints Row 3 that got scrapped, and Saints Row 3 was great. So it just looks like they went into the trash can over at Deep Silver, and they said, hey, since you guys had problems with THQ and bankruptcy, What's in your trash can? Can we use some of those models? Oh yeah, it's not finalized. Don't worry, we'll just cell shade it. It's good. We'll cell shade it. Nobody will even notice. And we can even throw cars. It will be worth it. Trust me. So yeah, that's where I'm at on that, man. I would say that I would give Microsoft. I would give him a strong C+, only because Phil Spencer can talk a good. I mean, he's a good talker. He's great at the conference, and he's got a amazing stage presence. Very charismatic. You know, I could compare him to Obama's speeches, but yeah. So C+.
Nice. All right. Fair. Very fair. So I'm going to be quick because we don't have a lot of time, and we've talked about a lot of the games that were in there, but I will just talk about like the experience of FanFest was amazing. Way better. I would say it was way better than last year. I would say the Xbox people knew that last year kind of ended up being a shit show, and they really made an effort to you know, do awesome stuff for us. They gave us some awesome hats. They gave us a ton of swag. This hat included, this Crackdown hat. But, you know, FanFest aside, just being at the conference this year, the atmosphere was electric compared to last year. Like, absolutely electric. Everyone was on the edge of their seats seeing what Microsoft was going to do to come back from all this negative press that they've had recently. And when they talked about the Xbox One X and it was $499, some people were pissed, and some people, you know, were still fine with it. They just wanted to get their hands on it, and we did, obviously. As far as games, I think everyone was kind of universally impressed with the sheer amount of games, but people were very divided on whether or not the games would make a difference in making a comeback for Microsoft. I think they needed probably one or two unique specific console exclusive IPs that were not there. Super Lucky's Tale, that's a start, but that wasn't it. Forza 7, obviously excellent. Played that. Was very, very good. Graphics were amazing. I don't want to talk about the same games we were going to talk about, so I'll mention a couple that we didn't say anything about. Ori and the Blind Forest 2. That game, very excited for. I think that's going to be very, very good. Obviously, the first game was exceptional. Second game, I think, is just going to build on that and be even better. Crackdown, I know we talked about it. It didn't show very well at the, at actual E3 at the conference, but at the show floor, I think it showed a little bit better. I actually had a lot of fun with it. The graphics, not the greatest. I'm with everybody on that. The graphics, not very good. But I got to play as Doc Cupcake. Unknown fact maybe, but you probably know now if you're on Twitter that Doc Cupcake is in the game as a playable character. I thought Middle-earth Shadow of War. Oh, hold on a second. There's an ambulance going by. Middle-earth Shadow of War, that looked incredible. Saw that. That looked very, very good. Very good marketing deal, I think, from Microsoft if they can make the best out of that. I mean, we've talked about pretty much everything else. Life is Strange, I'm not really into that. And PlayerUnknown's, I'll close with this. PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, I think, is the single best third-party exclusive ever, to be honest with you. I think, we can have a whole show on PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, and we probably will in the future, because that's such a transcendent, important game for today's day and age of gaming. I think that is, and I said that to people there, and I stick by it. I think that exclusive, depending on how long that is, if that's over 6 months, if that's closer to a year of exclusivity before PlayStation gets it, that is the single biggest third-party exclusive, I think, of this gen at least, if not ever.
No.
It's up there. It's really up there. And if you haven't played it, you may not know, but I mean, Taylor will back me up on this. And how Clowns has played it too. That game is addictively fun and is huge right now, not only in the player base, but on the streaming scene. And that, I don't think that has any chance of slowing down anytime soon. So yeah, I would give it like a B. I said a B+ after the show because I was a little high on it, being there, fourth row and all that. But I would probably give it a B after reconsideration and kind of calming down a little bit. But yeah, that's Xbox for you. I think I was impressed. I think they did what they needed to do. I think they needed a couple more AAAs that were console exclusive, and I think they needed to tell us a little bit more of the future of their studios. But other than that, I think they did what they needed to do. So I think they're going to be on the up. I think the Xbox One X is going to be a tough sell at $499 for a lot of people, like Clown said. But if they have trade-in deals to make it more attractive, I think that'll boost the numbers for sure. So we'll see. We'll see. All right, wow, we've really been going long, but just like Aaron Greenberg said, we're going long. Yeah, that's what he said to us when we were behind the before we went out for the for the conference. When we were in the back before they let us into our seats. They're like, "We're going long this year, everyone," and everyone like went nuts. But anyway, all right, Nintendo, really quick. What did Assassin? What did you think about Nintendo? We talked about the Mario Rabbids game, so
single thing.
Okay. Good.
So.
All right, so you don't have a rating.
Yep.
All right, excellent. Taylor?
I mean, it's Nintendo. They're gonna push out some good games. They're gonna push out some bad. That's all we need to know.
Yeah, it was only 30 minutes. It was a Nintendo Direct. There wasn't a lot of talking. There was a lot of game showing, and a lot of it was new stuff. So, if you didn't see it, then you have no rating, right?
Nope.
All right, Taylor. What did you think?
Super Mario Odyssey.
No.
I'm so excited for this game.
That's Jesus on a control pad.
I need a Switch for this game.
Yes, you do.
I gotta wait for the game to come out so that they'll put more Switches out. It's ridiculous.
And they will. Well, you know, Splatoon comes out. I think they'll put more Switches out for that. Like, I think there'll be a few opportunities, but man.
Yeah, but I don't really care for Splatoon. That's the issue.
No, I know. I'm just saying that they will restock at some point, like, that you'll realistically be able to get it. But then it comes down to money, and if you actually want to get it that far in advance. And so I understand.
Yeah. So that, and I actually just want Skyrim just so I can use motion controls for some of it. Because Skyrim is a game that I just want to use motion controls for so bad.
Yeah.
And I don't know why.
And they added in, like, some Nintendo-specific things, like the Master Sword, Master Shield.
The Zelda stuff.
Yep.
Oh, that was so cool.
Mm-hmm.
I got so excited. I almost screamed at work.
Nice.
It was bad.
Nice.
But I got so excited when I saw that. But yes. I'm glad that they still kind of took first-party stuff and mix it in with the third-party.
Definitely. Yep.
I love that. Without changing, like, core gameplay mechanics.
Yes. Yeah. It's great because now Nintendo is, like, so open to letting these third parties kind of use their stuff. It looks like they're trying to finally open up and see the light that they need to do that in order to stay relevant with third party stuff. Like, just take the third party stuff, make it, throw in Nintendo shit into the existing, like, equation, and boom, you got a system seller. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I think that's gonna sell really well for them for sure. What else you got?
Those were my two biggest things that I saw.
Okay.
So, overall, I'd say about a B. Just because Nintendo is everything for me.
Nintendo, baby. That's right. Clowns, Nintendo thoughts?
Super Mario Odyssey killed it.
Yeah.
Mario Rabbids killed it.
Yep.
An A for me.
All right.
Crossplay also. So I mean that's fantastic.
Crossplay in Rocket League. Yep. Nintendo's open to crossplay, and I know you tweeted this out, Clown. So I don't want to steal your thunder, but you talked about how it just Nintendo is more confident in their networking than PlayStation is. It seems by letting them go crossplay, right?
Yeah, because Nintendo's audience is usually a lot younger, so for Sony to say that they need to protect their audience from, of all ages, from outside sources and influence is pathetic when Nintendo comes along and says, hey, we have the most user-friendly, kid-friendly base there is, and we're going to go ahead and do crossplay with Xbox and Rocket League, and, that right there just shows us that Nintendo's very confident in the security of their systems at this point.
I agree.
Yeah, it's pathetic on Sony's behalf.
Yep.
You have to
It's
think
just
about the
embarrassing on
children.
Sony's
It
part.
is. It really is.
It's just embarrassing.
Yep, it is. And they don't even care. The sad thing is, and I feel bad for my PlayStation brethren, and I have a PlayStation as well. But you know, honestly, I feel bad. I feel bad for you people because for them not to see the value in crossplay. Yes, they did it with Paragon. Great. Okay, that they did it in one instance. But they're notorious. They have a reputation now for not wanting to do it. Like they now have that bad rep. They didn't want to do it for Minecraft. They didn't want to do it for Rocket League. Those are two of arguably the biggest games of this gen. And you're not going to do it? Come on. Stop it.
Shame on them.
That's right.
Sony just had a PR nightmare.
Oh
This
my
E3.
God. Yeah, we'll get into that in a second. But yeah. Yeah, nightmare. So, all right, for me, just really quick, Nintendo booth was absolutely lit. They had like so many awesome Mario statues and stuff that I took my picture next to. Really cool way that they demoed Mario Odyssey. Like they had so many screens for Mario Odyssey. They must have had like 100 at least. And the lines were still ridiculous because everyone wanted to play it. So, yeah, they did very well. They cleaned up. Splatoon 2, they had the 4-player like salmon run or whatever it is, the little co-op mode that they had. That showed pretty well. I think a lot of people were interested in that. They didn't know what to expect. Splatoon 2 obviously, has a reputation of being a multiplayer first game, and I think it's not going to shed that, even though they're putting in a much denser single player and they're doing the co-op mode. I think the PvP aspect of Splatoon is going to dominate, but nonetheless, it showed very well, the PvE stuff in the single player. But yeah, Mario Odyssey cleaned up. Absolutely cleaned up. Everyone left that booth excited about what they played, seeing the new mechanics with throwing the hat and like possessing the new objects and the other characters in the screen and stuff like that. So Nintendo absolutely cleaned up. Everyone was really excited. They were giving out like Mario hats that I didn't get, but they were giving them out. They look kind of cool. They were like visors. They were like red visors with big Mario eyes. It was actually really, really cool, but I was unable to get one because they were just such in high demand. And yeah, as far as the conference, the 30-minute direct looks like that's the future, guys. Like that really worked. And they were able to show like so many new things. Like they were able to show a Kirby game, a Yoshi game. They were able to tease a Metroid game by just showing a logo, and people went nuts for it. Like they literally just showed a logo, and people were like, "Oh my god!" Like game changer. I think that's a huge deal that they're able to do that. Like, what other company could do that? Like, if
Bethesda with Elder Scrolls.
There you go. I think that's it. I think that's exactly it. Like if you had Elder Scrolls 6, boom, they could have cleaned house. Like Sony could have done that last year with Last of Us 2. They could have just showed that, boom, done. But Microsoft, I don't think Microsoft has any IPs that they could do something like that and get away with it. Honestly, like what are they gonna? If they couldn't do that with like Halo 6, if they just showed a logo of Halo 6, people would be like, oh well, great. Like we expected that, right? Or like Gears 5 or, whatever. But yeah, Nintendo was able to get away with that. They had that Yoshi's game that was like Paper Mario. I might have already said that, but that Yoshi game looked really good. They showed a few things that I didn't really care for, but for the most part, I think they cleaned house. I give their 30-minute presentation a resounding A-. And I know I said I wouldn't give anyone an A, but an A- I think is appropriate. Maybe a B+, maybe like a high B+, maybe like an 89 point something. But their booth cleaned house. Their booth was amazing, without a doubt. And then they had like a screen demonstration with like Splatoon and what was the other game they had? They definitely had Splatoon. They had one other game, like almost like esports-ish, like ARMS. They had ARMS and Splatoon. They were showing like kind of like esports, announcing the matches and stuff. It was really, really cool. But yeah, that's Nintendo. We gotta move on. Let's get to the Detroit thing first, because maybe we'll wait on Jim Ryan. the Detroit thing kind of happened today, right? This is not really E3 based, but it has to do with kind of like the PR a little bit, because this is a game that's developed by Quantic Dream, who I think they did Beyond Two Souls too, or Beyond Two Souls, I think was their last game. Did that game get a sequel? I think it was the first one, right?
No, they didn't get any sequels.
No sequel. So Beyond Two Souls, that game did okay, if I remember correctly. I don't know what its meta was, but it was probably like, high 70s or something like that. I don't think it was too fantastic. But now they're coming out with Detroit Become Human, and that game is getting a lot more buzz. But they decided for a game that's not coming out for 2 years, they would go ahead and start the console war. And so they tweeted out earlier today, and they deleted it, but somebody screen grabbed it. So thank you for whoever screen grabbed it. I think it was Chicken Spaghetti who I pulled it off of. And I know some people have made YouTube videos about it. When you wake up and Detroit Become Human is still a PS4 exclusive and you're still an Xbox owner. So that's what they tweeted out. And they actually tagged Xbox. They didn't like hashtag Xbox. They added like at Xbox. They tagged them. And then hashtag Thursday Thoughts. So what do you guys think of this? Like, this is kind of bullshit, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Someone should get fired or something. I don't know, because it's bullshit. And I definitely will not be looking into the game whatsoever. And their last game got a 70, at least on PS3. I didn't look at PS4.
Oh, 70, okay. Okay, I thought it was like in the high 70s. Maybe I remember it better than it actually was, clearly.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right. Taylor, what are your thoughts? I know you kind of chimed in there at the same time as Assassin.
It's just stupid. Like, I've seen some people on Xbox side fan the console wars, and some of those people I have muted. I've blocked maybe one or two of them just because they annoy me so much.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But anyone who just wants to put down someone for playing on a console is the dumbest thing in the world.
Absolutely.
I hate it so much.
Yep.
And then to see a developer do that kind of stuff, it's gross. I don't like it at all.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like, not only is this game not coming out for a while, like, independent of the release date, and the fact that we've just finally seen some actual gameplay at this E3, like, people don't know a lot about this game, and then you're gonna go ahead and spout off that nonsense. Like, companies that could get away with something like this because they're good enough, like Naughty Dog, if Uncharted came out and they did something like this, yeah, people would be like, oh, that's childish, that's there was no need for that, but it's a great fucking game, like it's a 95, same, maybe Microsoft back in the day with like Gears of War or Halo. Not so much today, but like back in the day when those were in their prime, they could have done something like this, and people would be like, "Oh, that's childish," that's just console war bullshit. But they're right. Like, this is an incredible game. This game, we don't even know if it's any good, and the Twitter that this was posted on had like not even 1,200 followers. Like, it was literally there were nobody, and they still are. Like, if I go look. I'll go look right now what they have in real time. I'm sure they picked up a few because of this, but, like, what was the point? You know what I mean? What was the point?
I don't know. You would think that they would want more people to play their game, because I think if I made a game, I would want everyone to play it. I know they're probably locked into a contract, but, with Sony, but you'd think, like I said, they want, the money, and then just people to experience the work.
That's not their official account. Their official account is Quantic Dreams, who I think had like 19,000 followers.
Yes, because they did Heavy Rain and Beyond Two Souls, but then that's direct.
Game.
That is an official account. That's confirmed that's an official account.
Well, yeah, but it's what I mean is that it's when they talked about it, they said that it's a dev. It's not even like the official for the company representative. It's not like an official game account yet. It's not even verified as an official game account yet. So it's just a lone wolf dev who just felt like spouting bullshit.
Okay. I mean, that's fair. Like, this is obviously somebody who manages this account and, wanted to just stir the pot a bit. But don't you think that's even worse, Clowns, or do you think that's better?
I think it's just as bad. I'm not trying to give him an excuse or a reason for it.
Okay.
It still looks bad on behalf of the company in general. But at the same time, I don't think everybody at the company was like, hey, let's do this. This is a great idea. He probably was maybe just had too many beers or got too excited after, getting off the phone with somebody from Sony. He was like, hey, I'm just going to send this out and start some bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
It looks bad. And am I going to want to buy the game? No, because I don't want to buy a game from a company that acts unprofessional like that. I agree with, in this case, Taylor, because I don't like the console war bullshit all the time. I think, let's grow up. It's a piece of plastic. Let's just have fun playing whatever you play on.
Yeah.
If you want to buy all Xbox One and Xbox One exclusives, that's fine. But you don't need to go out there and assault somebody else. That's like assaulting somebody for liking a sports team or assaulting somebody for just being a cop or it's just stupid. It's just childish and immature at this point. Just have fun.
Mm-hmm.
Play games and have fun because it's a great industry. There's a lot of great people in it. And if you just feed one side, you're just going to get into the whole negative aspect of gaming.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and the thing about this is that the companies poke at each other all the time. Like Microsoft and Xbox, they've poked... Microsoft and Sony, rather, they've poked each other all the time. Like, remember back in 2013 when Sony was like, how to lend a game to a friend, and they like just handed the game over. But they didn't say like, this is how you lend a game to a friend. Unlike you can, like, not like you can do on Xbox where you can't actually do it. Like, they didn't explicitly come out and be like, oh, by the way, you can't do it on Xbox, and then they hand it over. You know what I mean? They slyly, feed the console war, whatever. Like, it's not like back in the day where Genesis had like, Genesis does what Nintendo don't. Like, they don't go at each other by naming each other anymore. That's over. Like, that's viewed as childish now. Like back then, it's funny, but it's viewed as childish, like Clown said. And now they're gonna at Xbox, like mention them. I mean, that's bad.
Yeah.
That's really bad. Stick Figure thinks that Sony just loves the console war.
At this point, Stick Figure's probably right. I think Sony's, not just Sony, but I think the executives in Sony, some of them got a little bit too cocky.
Mm-hmm.
I know we're not going to get into Jim Ryan, but that's just one example. And I do think that all these pictures of Ishida touting at tables at Japanese restaurants with devs is kind of like a bragging thing in a way.
Mm-hmm.
With what are those guys? Greg Collin, whatever his name is, I don't even know because I don't watch that crap. But yeah, like all that stuff is bragging. So Microsoft recently shot back a little bit with those chips. Like, yeah, we got the most powerful chip. What now? But yeah, Sony feeds into it way too much in this generation.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and Sim makes a good point in the YouTube chat. He says Microsoft takes shots at Max constantly during service reveals, and yes, that's different though because, with Microsoft and Apple, like when Microsoft comes at Apple about like their Surface, they're like selling you the opposite product and they're saying why their product is better, whereas this company is just saying like, we're on one and not another, like, sucks to be you guys. You know what I mean? It's not like Microsoft comes out and goes, sucks to have an Apple. Like, sucks to have a Mac.
The thing, though, is I think Bill Gates and Microsoft own a percentage of Apple now. I think after because Steve Jobs got fired at one point and then came back, and it was Bill Gates that brought him back because Bill Gates owned a strong percentage of Apple.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I think that's what I looked up one time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, then Sim says they blatantly say Surface is much more powerful than Mac because it's probably true, number one. I have a Mac and I have a PC, so I'm not like, one over the other necessarily. Don't talk to me about phones, but for computers, I'm definitely, fair on both sides. But, this is a little different. This is literally like a kid in the corner being like, I have your lunch. Like, I have bologna and your mom gave you like mayo sandwich.
Ugh.
You know what I mean? Like,
my mom really hates their kid. Child abuse right there. Don't snaps.
It's a fair comparison. I don't know where I came up with that. It's a fair comparison. It is a fair comparison, Sim. I'll give you that on the premise it's fair. But people are kind of outraged about this because this dev has everything to prove and everything to lose. It's not like this is like a really famous dev, like I kind of said earlier, with like Naughty Dog or Insomniac or like Bungie. It's not like somebody, or Blizzard. It's not like somebody of that stature that they have already proven it and they're like, okay, well, great, like you're right, your games are great and I can't play them. This is somebody with everything to prove and everything to lose, and now they've lost. Like I guarantee you, even Sony people are upset about this. I know for a fact, actually. I've talked to people. There are Sony fanboys that are not happy about how this looks.
No.
Because it's stupid. It's childish. And you're not coming out for like 2 years. For all we know, it could bomb. Like, what if Quantum Break in 2013 was like, oh, this isn't coming to PlayStation, haha. What is it like not to play Quantum Break? And then Quantum Break comes out, and we know what that was like. You know what I mean?
Really good game.
I mean, some people love it, some people hate it, but you know what I mean. Like it didn't meet what it was advertised to do, and if it's mixed, it's much more towards the negative than positive. But I don't know. This is childish, and I can't believe they fucking did this. It's sickening, actually.
Real quick, I just want to go back to that Apple and Microsoft thing. In 2003, Microsoft sold all their shares, but they did own at one point 18.2 million shares of Apple. And as of today, Microsoft has invested 0.0046% through a private capital management firm.
That's crazy. See, that's crazy. See, I wonder if that's happening at all in the game on this on like the console war level. Could you imagine?
I mean, Microsoft could potentially buy enough shares of Sony. I mean, they have the money a corporation. Yeah,
definitely. Sim says they deleted it fast. Yeah, not fast enough. People were
it was up for 3 hours.
Yeah, people were talking about it for a real long time on Twitter before they kind of realized, yeah, that probably wasn't a good idea. But anyway. All right, I wanted to talk about Jim Ryan. I think we're going to open with Jim Ryan next time because we're already at 2 hours on this podcast, and that's ridiculously long for even us. Thanks a lot, Assassin. Appreciate it.
Well, there's still one thing we need to talk about that's very childish.
What?
60 frames are demanded on Xbox One from the community.
We're not getting into that right now, but that is childish. I agree with you.
Can I say a quote? Can I say a quote, please? Please.
Yes. Say what you want. Yeah, say what you want.
That's the joke.
Oh my god. Fucking idiots everywhere.
No, we're not gonna get into the FPS battle, but that is for people that say games are not worthy at 30 FPS. That is just simply childish.
And you're probably dropped on your head repeatedly when you were 2.
Wow. All right, and with that, yeah, we're going to open with Jim Ryan on next episode, just in the interest of time. So, anyway. All right, that's it. We're at 2 hours. We're at almost 2 hours exactly, actually. I want to thank everybody for being here for this long episode. If you are listening later, thanks for checking out the probably longest episode in 4GwQPodcast history. But there was a lot to cover, and we did cover it, and everybody brought their opinion, so I thought it was a pretty good show. If you liked it and you agree with me, thumb it up. If you didn't like it, thumb it down. We'll take thumbs down, of course, but we want to know why you didn't like it. Please hit us up in the comments or hit us up all individually. Or actually, you can, hit us up on 4GwQPodcast on Twitter as well and let us know what you didn't like about it, because we want to improve it. We want it to be good. The look of the show is going to change a lot in the next month. I've already got a lot of ideas for it. And we're going to be doing a pretty decently big giveaway coming up in a couple weeks. So we're going to have another giveaway actually pretty soon on Gleam. The Jizzle actually donated a code of Strafe for PC. So we're going to be giving that away.
And I got 2 codes for Fable Fortune to give away.
For
Steam. Fable Fortune for Steam, the card game.
Oh, yes, Fable Fortune. So we'll be giving those away, too. So we've got some giveaways coming up, so pay attention to that stuff. Twitter is definitely where you want to look at, 4GwQ Podcast. Facebook, we're transitioning our leadership over to Taylor on that. So 4GwQuarters is our Facebook account. Go like us over there. And for everything else, YouTube, obviously you find us at 4GwQuarters. Twitch, Beam. This is the last week that we're going to be not multi-broadcasting. Next week, we are definitely 100% multi-broadcasting. So we'll be on Beam, Twitch, and YouTube all at the same time.
What's up, Beam?
Well, I'm sorry, Mixer. Jesus. Dude, you know what's funny? Really quick. I went to E3 and I changed my lanyard out from the Nintendo one to my Beam one. And people were like, dude, what are you doing rocking that Beam lanyard? Like, even people at Mixer were like, oh, you need the new one. And they gave me one of the new Mixer lanyards. And I'm like, dude, I'm rocking this Beam one, all right? I'm an OG. And I kept, like, talking about it as Beam. And I caught people, like, saying, like, even Microsoft people, I'm not going to name them, but I was talking to them and they would be like, oh, yeah, Beam, Beam, Beam. Like, it was nothing. And then you'll have somebody like Assassin be like, what's Beam? Off in the
Get
corner.
wrecked, Assassin.
Get served, son.
Speaking of Mixer, make sure to follow us. We've been streaming a bunch. Well, on our personal accounts, we've been streaming a lot.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna change. I'll change our Twitch things and the rotating thing to Beam. Although that's gonna change a lot coming soon. So yeah, follow us individually on Beam too, because I know Assassin's been streaming a ton. So we've been retweeting that out from the Four Guys account and from our individual accounts too when Assassin streams, because he's been playing a lot of Bell. It gets lonely. It gets lonely over there. So go check that out. And obviously the website 4GwQuarters.com. Go look at our shizzle over there. We've got reviews, articles, news stuff. And yeah, we're gonna have a news article coming up next week about a accessory maker that I met, a brand new accessory maker that I met at E3, and I think they're gonna potentially send us some stuff to review too. So we'll talk about that in the upcoming days and weeks. So look out for that too. All right. Other than that, we'll see you later. Peace out, Cub Scouts.